I've spent more time in this project looking for my tools and my gloves than probably actually working on it. All right, so I'm working on the ceiling, and on all the YouTube videos, it just looks simple. You just put up some stuff up on the ceiling and then attach all your stuff to there. But it's not so easy because the roof contours a little bit. There's different spaces in there, different kind of bends and twists. So I'm gonna try to get a little creative with this, because what I don't want to do is just screw strips into the bottom of the rails that run across the top, because then you lose all sorts of headspace. So what I want to do is try to mount some braces to the actual rails on the side. We might end up losing a little bit, but hopefully not too much, but we'll see how that goes. First, what I'm working on is right up here. As you can see, it kind of contours with the roof, and then it also contours a little bit over here. So what I've kind of fashioned together here is I've kind of just like trial and errored it as I've been going. This is a 2x2, just a furring strip 2x2, nothing crazy. And then I've kind of rounded out this back end here. Terrible lighting. Let's see if I can get it better. No, not really. So I've just kind of like arced it and then cut a little bit out because it bends a little bit. And I'm going to try to just screw it to the actual rail here. All right, so as I kind of set this up here, I'm noticing that one, it doesn't hit all the way. It doesn't bend very well because it's a 2x2, but on these outside ones, there's like some extra metal folded over. So I'm gonna notch those out. So at least it can kind of sit a little bit more up in there, because I'm not super happy with how this is fitting up here. All right, so I've kind of notched out, notched out a little bit here to see if I can get a little closer to the ceiling. So after numerous trials and errors, this is what I've ended up with. And it fits pretty good up there for the most part. And it's just kind of tapered on both sides. It's got this cutout to kind of compensate for some of the bigger, bulkier metal up there. All right, so here's what I know. What I know is that didn't work. So what I don't know is why. I got these self-drilling flathead screws made for putting wood to metal. And I did that. And it went through the metal and through the wood, but it's not pulling it very tight at all. It's actually just kind of hanging there, and you can wiggle it a lot. So what I don't know is what I've done wrong here. All right, so I had to take a mental break from the camper van, because I had a whole day without the kids, and I barely got anything done because I just kept running into one thing after the other. So I took a mental break. Sabine and I went out and got some dinner, and then I came back and I started hopping online, on Facebook, on YouTube, on everywhere. And it sounds like there's not really a very large consensus of how these battens are attached. So hopefully, if I can figure this out, you can have a way to figure this out. It seems like there's a bunch of different options. Some of them sound great. Some of them out there are like, I can't imagine that actually staying up. If you've never built something like this before, obviously once we figure this out, we'll have learned a ton from it. So just know that you're not alone if you kind of bang your head against the wall for an entire day trying to figure out one problem. So I haven't solved it yet, but I'm feeling much better about getting back in and just kind of figuring it out. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going at it. And ultimately, this thing's not going to be perfect. There's going to be flaws in it, and that's okay. So I went back to Home Depot after taking my break, and I got these self-drilling Lath Screws. The other ones just didn't hold. These ones are much thinner, and I'm hoping that they will hold. Success. Look at that. So that was super easy. And if you don't have the knowledge, you got to find it somehow or figure it out. So this is actually up there really good. It's holding really steady. I mean, that's not going anywhere. And I'll show you this time how simple this is to get in. There. And it's in. So that's the first one. Let's see if the fan gets in my way here. And there it goes. So that's in there. It's solid. Now the next thing I'm going to beat my head against the wall on is how to attach a batten back here, because there's nothing really to screw it to. Not a batten back there. Alright, so my kids got home just as I was getting up this back batten here. This is what I've kind of landed on. I got this, I just am using that same Loctite adhesive, and I just loaded it up and just kind of glued it up. It was only hitting because the roof arcs a little bit, so it's only hitting in these two spots. But I can also maybe secure it some other way as well. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm hoping that this will hold. Still up there. Oh no. I'm up here installing the solar panel and my back batten just fell off. Okay, so obviously a huge bummer, but also very thankful that this batten fell down off of the back while I was up on the roof installing the solar panel. So why I'm thankful for it is because it obviously wasn't a very good adhesion up there, and it would have been a big time bummer if that fell down after I got the ceiling installed, or you know, sometime on the road. So back to kind of square one with ideas for this. I went to Home Depot and grabbed a couple other adhesives and some L corner brackets. So I'm going to see if I can't use a better adhesive. The adhesive I had before I used on the subfloor. It was a subfloor exterior or interior adhesive. Obviously that was probably made for something that's going to have something sitting on top of it, not for hanging something. So that's neat. I thought I would just kind of kill two birds with one stone on that, but clearly that was not the case. So I grabbed some Gorilla Glue heavy duty adhesive. This stuff seems, from the reviews, like this might do the trick. And I also bought JB Weld steel reinforced epoxy. It says it works on metal and wood. Thinking I might use that. And then got some just corner brackets. They sold a 20 pack for pretty cheap, 10 bucks. And I'm thinking if I can somehow maybe use the JB Weld to attach to glue the top part of the bracket to the roof, and then I can screw it into the wood, and then also use some adhesive where the previous adhesive was, and really just get a kind of a double hold on there, and maybe that'll be enough. But right now I need to get back in the van. I need to think about this. I need to think it through a little bit. I'm kind of a in my head kind of a guy, so now is the point where I just kind of sit and think for a little bit. Okay, so after thinking about it a little bit, I think I'm gonna do the Gorilla Glue construction adhesive on the actual wood and on the ribs up above. I'm gonna use some spare 2x2 to brace that, overnight. And then I'm going to use some of the JB weld to hold an L bracket to the roof. And then from there, or maybe I'll use the Gorilla Glue for that as well, because it sets much faster, or at least holds much faster, so I don't have to sit there and hold that up for 4 to 6 hours. But this Gorilla Glue says it's best when it's applied above 40 degrees. So our garage, I don't know, it's pretty cold in here. I would guess it's probably below 40 degrees. So I'm just gonna go and take my heat gun that I got for the electrical stuff that I'm gonna do later. And I'm just gonna warm this up a little bit because it says that it holds in like 30 seconds. I don't know if that's, if that makes any sense, but I don't think it'll hurt, at least. So at the very least, it'll be a little bit warmer maybe in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that up now. Okay, it's already doing better than the other stuff. The other stuff wouldn't hold at all. This has the fast grab. So I'm gonna kind of brace these up just to give it a little bit of extra support here. But it's sliding a lot when I do that. So maybe not. Then I'm just gonna take these L brackets and just kind of put them up like this, maybe right on that rib. Nope, sorry. Like this, and I'm just gonna put some of that adhesive on here as well. Okay, so what I did is I used some of that Gorilla Glue, just loaded it up on there, and then loaded it up here. So then when this cures, I'm gonna screw these right into the boards. And then on the back side, I just did since I won't be able to screw in from that side, because I got this thing right here, I just put Gorilla Glue also on this bottom part and then squished it up again. So lots of adhesion happening here. I don't want that same thing to happen again that happened before. So I think this gives me some pretty decent support. But yeah, I don't think this thing's gonna go anywhere after this. I think it'll be pretty solid. It's already not moving much at all, not squishing or dripping or anything like that. It's all in pretty good standing. So this should work. Then we can start installing the ceiling, and that will make this maybe start to feel a little bit more like a home. Okay, so it's about 2 p.m. The following day from the previous video, and everything's holding really nicely. I just threw some screws up in there, and everything's holding. That thing is solid up there. So what I need to do next is, a lot of people, when they install their fan, they install some things for these screws to go into, and I didn't do that. I felt the fan was lightweight enough, and that there's enough screws on the outside that felt like it was overkill to me. But what I need to do is, because when I put my ceiling up, because I only have one batten back here and the fan's here, I need 2 things to kind of chew on to hold that in place. If I just have so I'm gonna have to stop a plank here to here, and I need something, because I can't just put 2 screws in it and expect it to hold up. So I'm going to make a little frame for this, just on the outside, so that I can screw the ceiling boards into. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to attach them to these battens with a Craig jig. So after I got this one up and this one up, I went to go cut this cross one here, and I came back all jolly and happy, and this whole thing was hanging down. I don't think this thing's gonna go anywhere after this. This should work. So the adhesive did not hold with the additional weight of these two bars. So again, feeling happy that it's happened now so I can figure this out. But roadblock number 78 on this project. But so essentially what I did now is I put a cross brace up to hold it. So before I just had adhesive on these two, and then these brackets, and then the two that it touches on this side, because the roof arcs a little bit. So these middle ones were not touching. The wood was just kind of, there's a gap there. So what I did is I just piled up the adhesive in these ones that don't actually touch the roof, and just really loaded it up in there. So now there's contact on every single rib. And then I glued this cross brace up to the roof. I filled in all that. And then I glued this cross brace as well. Again, filling it all the way up, and just loading it up with the adhesive as much as I can possibly get in there. So while it looks really messy, I'm hoping just to keep continuously add more and more support to this. Okay, so there's a little sneak peek of my ceiling, but I just wanted to kind of wrap this video up with that application. The last application that I had holds just fine with all of that extra adhesive in all of the ribs, and then along those side planks that run. I do have a brace up still just because I'm paranoid. But I've taken it down many times to work on, the floor and things like that. So it was a pretty solid application. I just brace it up because I know when I get my cabinets up and my walls up, it'll actually hold this corner. So it doesn't hurt to hold it up until I get that up, and any additional support is going to be helpful. I'm sure it's totally fine, but I was sure before. So anyways, that wraps up the ceiling battens video. Again, here's a little sneak peek of my ceiling, the tongue and groove ceiling. So you can see a video of that somewhere up here. I'll post that video when it's ready. If not, subscribe to the page. You'll get an update when that video goes live. So thanks for watching. I know the ceiling batten thing seems to be like there's no consensus out there on what's the best, and because everybody believes theirs is the best, and that it makes a lot of sense. So go out, see what other people do, and just decide, hey, what makes the most sense? Are you willing to sacrifice headspace? Some people will just glue plywood right up to the ceiling. It's all what you want to make it. And this is what I did. So I hope this is helpful to you. Give it a like if you found it helpful. Otherwise, subscribe to the page for more van updates, and also more how-tos. So thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day.